My name is Stephanie Garadia. I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, and I now work as a VP of Healthcare Analytics for RS21, which is a data science company based in Albuquerque, New Mexico. In my role, I'm particularly overseeing functional development of projects, analytics strategy. I work really closely with our data scientists on execution of our projects, which is a lot of data science. We rely really heavily on our data scientists as subject matter experts or SMEs. So many of folks on our teams have PhDs, are accomplished researchers. We really let them, we like to get out of their way and do their analysis work. There's a large amount of trust that comes with that, but I will say what that means, I think, for the data scientists is more responsibility on them to not only recommend to us and make sure that we're looking at the right things and looking at it in the right way as business users or as liaisons with our customers, but also to really understand the domain space, really understand the data that we're working with, really be able to provide consultative recommendations or support to their stakeholders that they're working with, whether that's me, somebody from from their internal company or our clients. Really being able to tell us, how we should validate this and what we should look at and things we should be on the lookout for. One example is anonymized cell phone pattern data, which is a data set that's available commercially. RS21 has acquired licensing for that to use that data for good. We have some very specific confines on how we can use it. What that data shows us is based on cell phone pattern where cell phones were pinged. We can see the patterns, how they move through a city, how they move through a building, what time of day, hot spots, congestion spots, popular buildings in the neighborhoods, all kinds of good stuff. So one thing that we've actually been able to utilize, of course, again, relying heavily on our data science team, is overlaying that information, patterns of where people travel within a city, overlaying that with other data sets that might help us to identify folks who are still in need of like a COVID vaccine or COVID outreach or education, and being able to really pinpoint and target specific sites. So, for instance, specific buildings within a city where and specific times of day where it may make sense to drop a mobile COVID vaccine site clinic. Well, I can't say that I was necessarily thinking about this career path as a young child, but what I can say, I didn't realize this until recently, but I was always that child who was asking why. I didn't realize that until very recently that that characteristic has really made me an exceptional data analyst or data practitioner. Just that natural curiosity and analysis and trying to and problem solving. So if you find yourself with those types of traits or characteristics, that could be a good indicator. What that means for me on a education perspective is I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do because I had so many varied interests across the board. So I went from nursing to education to math and engineering, computer science. Didn't care for that; it was too hardcore. I actually ended up just in statistics somewhat serendipitously, and I did so well in my first statistics class that I thought this is pretty neat, and it's a mathematical way to answer why. Again, didn't realize that was the connection until later, but I ended up majoring in that. When I graduated from college, it was in 2008. It was right in the middle of the one of the recessions, and so there was not a lot of jobs. And this was well before data science was a thing, or even data analyst in some cases. So I ended up starting working as doing labor market economics for the Department of Workforce Solutions here in New Mexico. That actually quickly led into a lot of interest in just data work. I didn't know at the time that it was data work. I ended up getting a job, again, just kind of serendipitously working for Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Mexico as a data analyst, specifically in healthcare. I've been with RS21 since February of 2021, so about 10 months now. And prior to that, I had actually co-founded a healthcare analytics consultancy, a small boutique consultancy called Versatile Med Analytics with one of my colleagues, who I had met along the way of my data journey. So we did that. We launched VMA in 2017. We did work for about 4 years in and around New Mexico. And then our company was ultimately acquired by RS21 in February of 2021, where I took on my new role and my new responsibilities, which are very similar. I'm just a little bit more hands off on the data now because we have such a great and robust large team of technicians. But my passions are still the same in my areas of interest. There's probably certainly some areas in high school that if you're interested in a data practitioner or data career, I definitely think there's some areas in high school to focus on that maybe you wouldn't normally focus on just through the normal curriculum. So I would definitely say anything that you can do to double down on math, programming languages, application development. Um, I really think those STEM careers, or even learning how to use Microsoft Excel early on and starting to use it for simple budgets or for projects and reports. I mean, those things can really propel you into your college years. I'd also encourage you to, work with your MESA groups or your other STEM groups. Tap them for connections. A lot of times, the teachers are really eager to bring folks in about to talk about different careers. So I would encourage you as students to seek that out. I also encourage teachers to seek out folks who, like myself, would just love to come and talk about what they do and teach the students about the many different areas in data that there are. There's so many. I mean, I know we're talking about data science and data analytics here today, but that spectrum is so huge, and I think it's because it's a relatively new field, or people are still trying to understand what it means, and a lot of the semantics or the words are all the same, or they may not mean anything. The more that we can get folks in there talking to the students, and the more students we can get listening to us, the better.